Since we last met, since we last talked here, you published a while ago this successful book called Acid Drops, which is your collection of sort of verbal put-downs, I suppose, the best generals.
Yes, I thought tart retorts, but somebody else said, no, acid drops is better, because the tartness is in the acidity, and the drop about them being put down, so to speak, is in acid drops. So I thought it was a better title. Yeah.
Why did you pick that particular kind of art form to be that, to write about?
Well, I picked it because I'd done a lot of these quote-unquote shows.
Yes.
And Giles Brander, who was editing this book, said to me, you obviously enjoy, don't you, the malignant thrust and the rude retort. And he said, you do deliver them with a degree of relish. And I said, yes, I do enjoy them. And he said, why don't we do a book all about them? So that's how it all occurred, because I'd gone along to the programme for quote-unquote with my various bits and pieces, and the producer always said, bring quite a few, because we may find that what you think is funny is not broadcastable. And so one always had to have quite a few spares, you know. But I remember taking along to him one, which I thought was a lovely one, and that was a true account. Stanley Baxter told me in a London club he'd heard two men, and one said, I've just come from Evita. And the other one said, oh, you don't look very brown. I remember thinking that was a marvellous one, but he said, no, it's not what we want. So I put that in my spare book, you know. And I put a lot of other spare things in the diaries, which I keep, because I've kept them since I was 14.
But when did you discover this liking, or indeed your talent for what you described as the malignant thrust?
Well, I suppose because I've so often been a victim, do you see, of aggression. And I found very early on in life, I'm a small person, and I found very early on in life that if you didn't have the sort of retort that was necessary to put down people who were rude and bullying, then you couldn't do it in any other way. I mean, you couldn't do it. I had to do it verbally. I couldn't do it physically.
You started as a schoolboy, then?
Yes, I think that was the first occasion, yes. I used to use the tongue to be vituperative.
But the malignant thrust of the tongue often gets you walloped round the ear roll. I mean, did you need a bodyguard?
Yes, I always had one handy. Yes, I cultivated the friendship of very big people. And I got very well in with the captain of the school football team and the captain of the cricket team. I got in well with all those big chaps. And I thoroughly enjoyed them. They'd always bash people for me, you see. And I loved it. I did it in the army as well. I always kept well in the area of protection from those sort of people.
Mm. What about, in compiling the book, did you in fact come across any one section of life in which it was the put-down was more rich in area than others? I mean, is it, I don't know, theatre? Is it politics? Is it...
Well, no, I think it covers almost everything. I mean, I love that F.E. Smith one, you know, where he, after a lengthy preamble in front of the judge said, I've listened to your arguments. They are very lengthy, and I'm none, frankly, Mr. Smith, I'm none the wiser. And he said, no, my lord, but doubtless better informed. And that, I find, is I think that's a marvellous put-down, but it's essentially erudite. It belongs very much to the realm of the legal system.
There's also, of course, in the book, there's a marvellous collection of quotes and incidents of theatrical characters, rich theatrical characters.
Yes, there are, but there are several that I wanted to do and then thought afterwards, oh, I should have put that, and forgot, you know what I mean? And that will have to be in the next edition. They're having a reprint, incidentally, so that's very nice to know, because they've sold them all. And so we're having to do it all again. And one that I really would have loved to have been in, because I think it's a marvellous put-down, and in a sense it's the essence of theatre. And it was told me by Jeremy Swan, who knew the man that was in charge of this company. It was Robert Helpman doing a tour of this ballet, Midsummer Night's Dream, and he was playing Oberon, and they played it in a vast sports arena. It was floodlit. And every actor, of course, or dancer or whatever, was given rooms which were essentially for sports people, and they gave Robert Helpman what they thought was the best room, the umpire's room. And when the man came round to the half, he knocks on the door and says, half an hour, please, half an hour, please. He didn't get any answer, and he went in and found in this umpire's room Robert Helpman on a chair which was on the table. So he was up on this chair on the table with a mirror against the one naked light bulb, doing this very elaborate eye makeup, which was green and gold, and up there doing this. And he said, "Are you all right?" And Robert Holmes said, "Yes, I'm fine, but God knows how these umpires manage." Conveys that wonderful sense of theatre. People who are in the theatre imagine, do they not, that the world revolves about that particular area and not about any other. Edith Evans was comparable because she had this extraordinary ability to rise above any kind of adversity. I remember after Gentle Jack, there was terrible booing and shouting, and she said to me as the curtain fell, "Well, I heard one bravo." And I said, "No, that was go home." She said, "Oh, how very rude." When we came out of the theatre, she said to me, "Did they give you any notes?" And I said, "Yes, I got a couple of notes. Did they give you any?" And she said, "Well, Binky said, Hardy Amy's has designed very regal costumes. You should look equally regal in them. Should you think that's justified?" And I said, "No, I think any criticism of your deportment is tantamount to impertinence." And she said, "Yes. You're a very pleasant young man. And there's no reason why the right girl shouldn't come along." Which obviously she regarded as the reward for any sort of virtue. Then we got into the taxi and got back to this hotel where we were staying, and we were the only two because everyone else had dined. You know, we were... Well, it was 11 o'clock at night, you know, and everyone else had gone. But these two tin plates were over a bit of cold ham and lettuce. And we sat in the corner of this empty room, and an old fart who was the night porter, who was deputizing both as night porter and waiter, came in and said to Dame Edith, "Your partner in crime's had her grub." And the partner in crime was her advisor on spiritual matters. Accompanied her on this tour. She was a Christian Scientist.
That's right.
And would not take any medicines, but believed that spiritual faith would resolve any kind of illness. And he said, "Your partner in crime's had her grub. She couldn't wait about till 11:30 when you were starting. But she said she might want a drop of wine. Do you fancy a drop?" And she said, "Oh, yes, a half bottle of Beaujolais would not come amiss." He said, "I thought you'd fancy that. I got a drop in the sideboard for you," and bent over to get it, and then broke wind with alarming ferocity. It really rang out appallingly. And she said to me, "This place has gone off terribly." And I thought that revealed great composure and presence of mind. And it's something I think which it does run through theatre, because I recall when I first worked with Maggie Smith in television, we did a thing called Acting in the 60s, and I said to her afterwards, "You're extraordinarily relaxed, aren't you? I mean, the head was so relaxed." And she said, "Oh, that's because I had so many fillings. My head's top-heavy with lead. It keeps falling forward." And when we went to Fortnum and Mason, where she was after a particular kind of bra, a very grand assistant in Fortnum's, which was heavy carpeting, beautiful, very soft pile. You hardly heard as you entered. This woman said, "Yes, I have the particular bra, ma'am." And she said it was 7 guineas. And Mag said, 7 guineas for a bra? Cheaper to have your tits off. The place was in uproar. Obviously, they've never heard anyone being quite so forthright before in that kind of establishment.